But if you want real volume and real heavy-duty market makers, they have to be able to place their money in things that have an investment thesis, things that produce meaningful yield without necessarily disproportionate risk. That's coming. That's coming very fast, and I think it's going to radically change the kind of value that can be parked on blockchain rails.
Alrighty, everybody, what is going on? Welcome back to another CYPRX video breakdown. In today's video, we're going to be diving into some clips from people inside systemically important organizations, giving you guys a wake-up call to accumulate digital assets, learn how to use them in the DeFi ecosystem for yield generation, and keep a long-term perspective. Right now, we as retail investors are beating the institutions. And so in this breakdown, this is meant to really push you all to further your education on how powerful you become when you learn how to put your digital assets to work, including stablecoins. So the focus today is going to be also on the METALLICUS ecosystem and how it is primed to lead the next wave of this massive onboarding of institutional adoption. So buckle up your seatbelts. I know that the environment is a little bit different today as I am traveling, just trying to get out some good valued content for you guys. We're going to start here with today's video clip to set the tone for today's video. This is an individual representative, and I'm actually going to be utilizing Snipverse today to project some of the content out for you guys. If you guys don't know about Snipverse, definitely go check it out. I'm not here to show it to you all, but really great social media platform that actually pays you outright for your posts every single day. And right now on Snips, you can actually see that there's 2 CYPRX channels that are the top snippers right now on Snipverse, built on the XPR network. Since we're going to be talking about the METALLICUS ecosystem, I thought that I would actually do this entire recording utilizing some of the recent posts that I'd made on Snipverse. Besides that point, let's get back to this post to set the tone for today's video breakdown. I said here, when someone who spent 18 plus years as a managing director and head of strategic ecosystem partnerships at BlackRock speaks, we need to pay attention. His message, it's very clear. Accumulate as much crypto as possible and hold with a long-term perspective. Think about it. The same institutions that built trillion-dollar empires in traditional markets are now telling us that this is where the future lies. The playbook is simple. Stack, stay patient, earn yield, and think long-term. Retail investors who act now position themselves ahead of the largest wealth transfer in our history. So don't let short-term noise blind you from the bigger picture. The institutions are ready and they're preparing. The question is, are you? So take a second here and just listen to what this gentleman has to say. Keep in mind, he is an ex-BlackRock representative of over 20 years of experience at BlackRock.
And if you believe you're measuring yourself in days, weeks, or months, then it actually can motivate you to make real mistakes. If you take the view that we're in a very long-term opportunity, you will accumulate as much as you can, but you do it responsibly. You will accumulate as much as you can, but you do it responsibly.
Accumulate as much as you can and have a long-term perspective. Could not have said it better, which leads me over here to this post. Making money is a skill. Maintaining money is a discipline. Multiplying money is an art. Write that one down. And this is exactly what the METALLICUS ecosystem was built for. With Metal, XMD, XPR, Loan, and its on-chain DeFi suite, you are not just earning, you're able to compound, stake, farm, and continuously generate rewards, lending, borrowing, things like that keep your capital productive, and then loop all of these strategies to multiply the yield without ever having to sell core utility digital assets. Now, there's so many people out there that will say, never sell your assets, but then never have a reason to back that up. Let me not only show you guys proof that having the ability to post your digital assets is going to be one of the most powerful use cases, but that from a financial institutional perspective, these people on stage have been telling us they don't want to sell their crypto. Before we get into those particular video breakdowns, actually, as a matter of fact, since we're on the topic, I'll show that to you guys right now. So we'll come over here. This is the video breakdown that was posted only 5 months ago, has 82 views, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to the CYPRX researchers for this one. Take a second and listen to what this lady says about how institutions will want to generate yield on their digital assets, and they're going to want to post their crypto as collateral. Keep this in mind as we progress and we get to a DTCC report that was released on September 11th, and we listen to Dan Donnie from the DTCC, along with a board member of the DTCC, Sandy Quall. So just take a second and listen to this lady here talk about how institutions will want to earn yield on their digital assets.
They want to have the ability to access and work their crypto assets in an efficient way. So the ability for them to be able to use that as collateral and borrow without having to sell away the asset, right? So leverage and the ability for them to work their crypto the same way. So yield is also very important to them. And then in terms of the
So you've now heard this directly from an individual, the valid credentials in this space. These institutions are going to want to be able to post their crypto as collateral and never have to sell it, borrow against it in the form of cash or stable coins, and then go out and operate in the DeFi or TradFi ecosystem with that borrowed capital. Okay. That is powerful when you understand that, because you know, hopefully, if you have studied DeFi or you're locked in with us on the Wealth 28 Club, that we now have the ability to be our own banks. And the best part about all this is we are early. Now, I know that people hate hearing this. So with that being said, I'm going to take you all over to an institutional perspective so that way you truly understand, coming directly from the institutions, they are also in the process of this early phase of adoption. So that way it's not just coming from a retail individual on the internet telling you guys we're early. You really see from a large systemically important organization that we are. And this should really paint a broad landscape when you're hearing all these bullish Moonboy price predictions and you're hearing that XRP is going to go to $1,000 overnight and blah, 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 blah. It should really allow you to humble yourself hearing these types of video clips, because these are the institutions that are going to move these markets. And they're the ones telling you that institutional adoption of stablecoins and crypto is still in its early stages, estimated at about a 0.5 on a scale of 0 to 10. And this is coming straight from a Citibank representative. Don't take it from me. Take it from this industry leading expert here from Citi. And her name is Catherine Gu, and she is the head of institutional clients at Citi.
It's more like we're just starting to see regulatory clarity happening in the US, and of course, like, things happening in Europe as well. So I feel like starting the beginning of this year, and we're only just 6 months, 7 months into this year, that I'm seeing more institutional interest, and this time is more like serious interest into the space starting to happen. But I still think we're very early in all of the institutional adoption. We're creating new products and capabilities, whether like directly issuing a stablecoin or building on top of stablecoin. I have not seen that happening at scale. So I would put it at the very beginning, like around 0 to 1 kind of range.
Wow.
So you just heard directly from Citi how early we are in terms of the adoption curve. Now, listen carefully. For the first time in financial history, retail has beaten Wall Street. And I've been very repetitive in saying this because you need to understand how massive of an opportunity this is. We survived the crashes so far, not saying that there aren't going to be any more in the near future. The FUD we've survived, and the regulators. And while institutions sat on the sidelines, retail carried crypto to a multi-trillion-dollar height. We've surpassed $4.189 trillion via just retail, okay? But make no mistake, time is running out to beat the institutions. Banks are for a fact building out the rails. Governments are clearing a path towards broad institutional and mass adoption, and the giants are coming. And when they fully step in, the rules of the game will change forever. If you're still hesitating to learn DeFi and implement DeFi strategies in your portfolio, even if it's just the learning process, okay? Remember, this is the last year, most likely, where retail is going to get the lead ahead of institutions. So position yourself accordingly. Of course, not financial advice, but the window is closing and it's not going to stay open forever. Don't take that from me. Take that from, again, Sandy Quall. She's a board member of the DTCC, CFTC, World Economic Forum, and plays a leading role at Franklin Templeton.
A different point of view on this one, and I feel like it's kind of a cheat because you should really be answering this question. But I will do my best to answer for you. I would argue that retail has beaten institutional to this space already. That retail already understands the crypto markets far better than any institutional players understand them at this point. And that the capabilities and the functionality that the institutional financial services markets are going to need to develop are all coming now from the retail side. The gamification, the social interaction, the inclusion of short form video as forms of instruction, the ability to take actions on one's own that equate to what institutional players can do today.
She specifically just said the ability to take action from a personal individual level via on the scale of what institutions have been able to do. And that is exactly what is happening in the digital asset landscape, which is now going to transition and lead us over into the discussion and talk about Metallicus. Because we're on the topic of posting digital assets as collateral, I want to really dive into how Metallicus is setting the stage and the playbook for not only yield generation, but also giving banks, particularly credit unions right now, the ability to create their own stablecoin. This is massive. So here on Snipverse, I posted this, and this is a document directly from KPMG titled Stablecoins, the Bridge Between TradFi and Digital Assets. And here I said, stablecoins, yield, and the new playbook, the US Genius Act, makes one thing very crystal clear. Holders of regulated stablecoins won't be allowed to earn interest or yield directly on their deposits. But the real opportunity is not gone, it will only evolve. Here comes collateral power. You can still post the same stablecoins as collateral inside lending pools, borrow, and deploy. You can borrow against them, then put the borrowed capital to work across DeFi liquidity pools, swapping the borrowed stablecoins for crypto and participating in staking strategies or other yield-generating opportunities. This is how individuals and institutions will keep earning while staying fully compliant. Inspire to learn these tools. I cannot stress enough. Just like you heard Sandy Qual say,
the ability to take actions on one's own that equate to what institutional players can do today. The ability.
Position your capital where the next wave of regulated digital finance is headed. Collateral is deeply embedded in the core of TradFi, especially for secure lending, leverage, funding, short-term positions, market making, etc. The fact that nearly trillions of dollars in repos are outstanding suggests huge potential for efficiencies, leverage, rehypothecation, that's an important word right there, we'll get back to in a second, and cross-market linkages using DeFi rails. And so here is that document where it's particularly talking about right here, holders of stablecoins will not be permitted to earn any form of interest or yield on their holdings paid by the issuer. And then on the same document, however, it does go on to mention how these digital assets, I know that the font might be a little bit small, but it talks about how these digital assets will be able to be posted as collateral. It says support for both fiat collateralization and crypto collateralized stablecoins right there in that little tiny statement. High level trading technology architecture. And then in another post right there, it goes on to say, stablecoin use cases continue to grow, whether they're being utilized for cross-border payments and remittances or for collateral and funding. Companies are taking a close look at how they can incorporate stablecoins into their existing business models. Why are we even talking about stablecoins in regards to the Metallicus ecosystem, and why is this so important? Even though we're not going to be able to generate yield directly from the issuer on our stablecoins, we are going to be able to post stablecoins as collateral for yield generation and participate in farming, all kinds of different DeFi activities to generate yield with our stablecoins. Well, if we come over here, who is at the forefront of this? Metallicus, Metal blockchain. So I said here, this is really wild. This year, Congress handed credit unions a legal compliant path to issue their own stablecoin under the new Genius Act. That means a local credit union can create a branded, fully regulated digital dollar that keeps deposits in-house instead of bleeding out to big tech wallets or offshore fintechs. Programmable finance, instant P2P and A2A payments, tokenized deposits right inside their existing systems. And guess who's already building for this? Metallicus. They were just named a finalist for their custom stablecoins for credit union solutions, a first of its kind in-house solution that lets credit unions launch their own stablecoin safely and strengthen member loyalty, along with opening up new revenue streams. I highlight that again, new revenue streams. We are watching the lines blur between banking and blockchain in real time. So here is this report. This is back from August 13th, 2025, where it says your credit union can now issue its own stablecoin. Are you ready? Taking a look at some of the highlights from this, it literally says right here, the Genius Act changes the math. Now you can offer that same capability under your own brand. With your regulatory safeguards directly integrated into your core systems instead of watching deposits bleed into third-party ecosystems, you can keep that liquidity in-house. So these credit unions can now issue their own stablecoins. I find it so interesting that the Genius Act specifically talks about how we're not going to be able to earn yield from stablecoins directly from the issuer, but we can post them as collateral, right? Well, if we come over here, considering that we now know that credit unions, because of this Genius Act, are going to be able to issue their own stablecoin, and we take a look at what happened just the other day, early into the month of September, METALLICUS was named a finalist for its custom stablecoins for credit unions, a first of its kind solution enabling credit unions to issue branded compliant stablecoins. These stablecoins allow credit unions to explore how they can strengthen deposit retention and member loyalty. They can enable real-time secure P2P and A2A payments. It's literally word for word, like a direct mirror of the document that I just showed you guys talking about the Genius Act. And it unlocks new revenue opportunities through tokenized deposits. Okay. So before we even get into that, let's just take a second and listen to Dan Donnie from the DTCC. This is a video breakdown from just 3 months ago. So it's relatively fresh from this year, 2025. Don't take it from me that these financial institutions are going to need to be able to earn yield on their digital assets and their stable coins. Take this directly from Dan Donnie. And as we roll over into the ending of today's video breakdown, we are going to get into this particular post directly from the DTCC, September 11th, 2025, where they go on to talk about the great collateral experiment. So listen to Dan Donnie real fast, again, from the DTCC, go on to talk about how these institutions are going to need to generate yield.
And we only got a couple minutes left. So maybe just parting thoughts. Would love sort of each of you to, if there was one thing where you could snap your fingers, open your eyes, and it's done to really drive adoption and scaling of this globally, what would you say that is?
All right, I'll go first.
Whoever wants to jump in first.
So I think one of the things that's been missing in the blockchain world is high quality assets on chain, things with an investment thesis. You saw the importance of stablecoins on blockchain rails, which provided a unit of account. But if you want real volume and real heavy duty market makers, they have to be able to place their money in things that have an investment thesis, things that produce meaningful yield without necessarily disproportionate risk. That's coming. That's coming very fast. And I think it's going to radically change the kind of value that can be parked on blockchain rails.
And so that leads me over here to these two posts, right? Because one of the biggest use cases driving this shift is the ability to post crypto as collateral. Assets that can unlock liquidity, borrowing, and looping strategies will command a premium because they create real economic activity on chain. This is exactly why collateralized lending is becoming a cornerstone of DeFi. If an asset can be widely accepted as collateral with strong liquidity and compliance guards, it gains and will most likely gain long-term demand from both retail and institutions. And no one is doing this right now better than Loan Protocol built on the XPR network. It allows users to post their crypto as collateral, borrow against it, and redeploy capital, all while operating in a secure, compliant, and efficient manner. In this new era, price is going to equal use case. Collateral is going to be king. And so this takes me over here to this post by Paul Gray, where he said fully on-chain, fully dynamic, and fully gas-free on the XPR network. Loan Protocol. Are we the only lending platform where you can borrow and lend as much as you like without paying any transaction fees? 10 plus assets and tokens supported, all powered by the XPR network. If we come over here, on the topic of collateral, heading back over here to this clip from Dan Donnie, again, another clip from this year, 4 months ago, DTCC. Listen to what he says about how these digital assets don't really have any value until you give them a use case. And one of the primary use cases is them having the ability to be posted as collateral.
To do that, to make it so that parties can, within seconds, convert any traditional holding into token form to conduct transactions. But tokens themselves really aren't game changers. They're just another database, a database with benefits to be sure, but just another database in the end. It's actually what you can do with tokens that makes the big difference. And the foundational transaction in finance is collateral. So most people think liquidity really comes from trading activity, that's what makes a difference, my ability to convert dollars to shares of Tesla. Yeah, that's important, but by far that's a drop in the bucket compared to transactions in liquidity that have to do with borrowing and lending. So there are transactions. Repurchase agreements are the way that banks get liquidity. So they take assets, high quality assets like treasuries, and when they need cash, they post them as collateral and borrow cash from one another in a model called repurchase agreements or repos. That transaction is the most dominant transaction of any globally on a daily basis. Over $20 trillion a day. I think it's even more than that. But anyway, roughly that amount is in that transaction. Well, it turns out blockchain is the perfect technology. Perfect. It's like tailor-made. It's the killer app for blockchain.
So you guys have now heard it directly from all of these systemically important organizations and people. Keep in mind the video clip that I played for you guys at the beginning of the lady saying that these banks and institutions are going to want to earn yield on their digital assets. They're going to want to put their liquidity to work, post it as collateral. They're going to want to earn yield. Now you have also direct confirmation from Dan Donnie. And the best part about this is why we're talking about the Metallicus ecosystem is because this is exactly what you can do inside the Metallicus ecosystem. Instead of chasing short-term gains, you can use digital assets right now, like Metal, like XMD, like XPR, and like Loan on the Loan protocol to build something bigger. You can stake, you can lend, you can borrow, you can loop DeFi strategies all through the DeFi ecosystem, not because it's easy, but because it's a disciplinary act heading into this future to grow your wealth. Every choice to delay instant gratification compounds into greater rewards down the road. This is not just DeFi, it is a lifestyle of discipline, like I mentioned, and it's discipline at scale. And when you live it and you realize that the future isn't something that you wait for, it's something that you build, okay? This is so powerful to learn this information and not just think that we're headed into some cycle where price appreciation and selling your digital assets for fiat is the only thing that's going to bring you multi-generational wealth, because that is the farthest thing from the truth. Again, I encourage you guys to learn how to maintain, keep, grow, and expand your digital wealth as we head into this new digital economy moving forward. Last but not least, I'll take you guys over here because this was a phenomenal post from the DTCC the other day. If you guys haven't read it, I fully encourage you guys to go out and do so because this proves everything that I'm saying here in one post. I'm not going to read the entire thing to keep you guys waiting. I'm just going to read some highlights. September 11th, 2025, titled The Coexistence Imperative, Bridging TradFi and Emerging Digital Asset Infrastructure. And this is by Nadine Chikar, the Managing Director and Global Head of DTCC Digital Assets. Coming over here to my Snipverse post, I said this is direct confirmation from the market's core infrastructure. This is a major piece on how it's fusing TradFi with digital assets. A particular quote says, by transforming assets and collateral into digital tokens, we unlock new efficiencies. For collateral in particular, tokenization opens the door to real-time mobility and optimization. And all this assessed how digital tokens can be pledged, rehypothecated, there's that word, and utilized for margin requirements. Now, this is what we've been talking about in previous posts, is posting your digital assets as collateral is no longer a theory. It is happening, and it's happening inside the very plumbing of the global markets, the DTCC. And they are steering a collateral universe into tokenized rails that run 24/7, make liquidity faster, more transparent, and programmable. And these institutions that settle trillions of dollars every single day are openly validating collateralized digital finance. This is confirmation that most people need, but will never see until it's too late, because they're going to sell for fiat. They're not going to understand how to lend, how to borrow, how to post their digital assets as collateral. If you want to buy a Lambo, if you want to buy a house with your XRP profits, you don't have to sell your XRP to do so. Again, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I encourage you guys to go out there and learn about lending, borrowing, so on and so forth. Okay, but check this out. So just looking at some of the highlights, it says here, first off, why are we even paying attention to what the DTCC says? They are the backbone of the US financial system. It says it right here on their website. Okay, I want to pay attention to an organization that is the backbone of the US financial system, considering how large the US financial infrastructure actually is. Today, that infrastructure is undergoing a profound evolution. There's that confirmation. And it's aiming to reshape our industry for generations to come, pushing us to rethink how markets operate. At the heart of our strategy at the DTCC, as the dedicated digital division of the DTCC Digital Assets is architecting a seamless integration of the reliability of TradFi infrastructure with the revolutionary possibilities of digital asset technology. Right underneath of that, it says, The DTCC digital asset aims to bridge the gap between TradFi and DeFi, right? Emphasizing the word DeFi. Then it goes on to say a key area of innovation is the tokenization of $300 trillion of global asset holdings that traverse our infrastructure, ranging from equities and fixed income to money market instruments and beyond, and collateral. By transforming assets and collateral into digital tokens, we unlock new efficiencies for market participants, making processes more transparent, auditable, and resilient. For collateral in particular, you guys can continuously see this word collateral in the DTC's documentation. Tokenization opens the door to real-time mobility and optimization, helping market participants deploy resources where and when they are needed most. The DTCC's Great Collateral Experiment showcased a new blockchain-based platform for tokenized collateral within our own infrastructure. During the demonstration, we evaluated the interoperability of tokenized collateral with existing market processes, assessed how digital tokens can be pledged, rehypothecated, and utilized for margin requirements, and explored risk controls that maintain market safety and soundness. So they literally telling you guys that they lent out their assets, they pledged them, they rehypothecated them, borrowed against them, and then they redistributed those assets back into the market, in this case for margin requirements. This is huge confirmation that everything that we have been talking about in the CYPRX Wealth 28 Club and everything that we've been projecting to you guys on YouTube in terms of lending, borrowing, DeFi mechanics, never having to sell your digital assets for fiat anymore is 110% coming, and it's coming via trillion-dollar organizations that are not here to play games, okay? Last but not least, it says the convergence of TradFi is more than a technological shift. It is a melding of established rules, legal frameworks, and proven processes with efficiency, transparency, and programmability of distributed ledger tech. TradFi markets and TradFi infrastructure has served us well, processing vast amounts of transactions each day, reliable and efficiently. The DTCC is integrating tokenization and blockchain capabilities directly into our existing infrastructure to leverage decades of reliability while unlocking the new possibilities that digital assets present. As the financial industry transitions towards tokenized finance, the coexistence of TradFi market infrastructure with new blockchain-based operational necessities, the build-out of digital asset rails, institutional-grade custody, digital asset signature apparatuses, and advanced data services must progress alongside the established systems that underpin today's markets. So I'm reading this to you guys to show you that the backbone of the US financial infrastructure is talking about exactly what we were discussing and talking about here in the Wealth 28 Club. Learning, educating yourself, understanding DeFi at its fullest. And again, I motivate you guys and encourage you all to know that you don't have to use or risk your digital assets in DeFi to learn about DeFi. With that being said, if you guys do want to take some time and you want to learn more about anything that I'm talking about in today's video breakdown, come lock in with us in the CYPRX Wealth 28 Club or in the private CYPRX Discord, a vast storehouse of knowledge and information in both niche categories in our private community, whether it's you just want to access the Discord for research or you do want to dive deeper into the DeFi ecosystem and the mechanics behind DeFi to start earning yield on your digital assets. You can do that with CYPRX. All you need to do is go over to cyprxtrading.com and tap into one of the services that we provide. And if that is not an option for you because you're not into the whole mentorship or paid mentorship programs or join a community programs, then guess what? Make sure that you guys are following the CYPRX YouTube. Make sure that you guys are following me on Twitter, and hopefully make sure you guys create an account and follow me on Snips, because there is so much free documented information and research across all of those platforms that you guys can access to educate yourself in the now via an institutional perspective. Nothing that I showed here to you guys today is opinionated or biased. It is all fact-based information that anybody can go do research on themselves. Keep in mind that none of this is financial advice. Hope that you guys enjoyed today's video breakdown. I'm super bullish on the METALLICUS ecosystem as a whole for its ability to lend, to borrow, to be posted as collateral, to just generate yield in the now, stack and compound, and have a long-term perspective, and a secure and compliant wallet that is built for both retail and institutional investors via the WebAuth wallet. None of this, though, is financial advice. I'm not telling you guys to go out there and buy any digital assets in the METALLICUS ecosystem, but I thought that I'd be transparent with you guys to let you all know that I'm super bullish on said ecosystem. With all that in mind, again, like I said, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. I know that this was a long outro, but if you stuck around for the entirety of it, I do appreciate the love and the support. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video breakdown.